I will deafen you. Put your devices in landscape mode. I'm sorry?
1 second. The last game, my timer stopped at like 17 minutes something, and like didn't move after that.
I think there was a lot of confusion because of the links that were sent. So like linked 51 was the one being used, and the last message was for blitz.red/52. So I saw that too. It was confusing.
So 56 for this one, right?
Yeah, the ones that are just sent in the staff stream chat.
Okay.
For anybody just joining in, game 1 ended. It was a magnificent game. We are going to be watching game 2 here from Arthur and Joyoung. They are going into their timers. Our recorder is ready. And once both of you guys give me the go-ahead that you're in your timers, I will just tell you, put your devices in landscape mode, and we will be ready to go. All right, everybody have access to their timer?
Yeah, yep.
All right, Joyoung, friendly reminder, device in landscape mode, please.
Yep.
Okay, looks like we are starting. So I'll go ahead, deafen Joyoung again, landscape mode. There we go. And deafen the players. Here we go. It is time for game 2. We are going to see if Joyoung can get some good old-fashioned revenge for that game 1. That was a very amazing revenge comeback for Arthur. We see here that Arthur has opted for turn 0 workshop. Same strategy he went for last time. And we see that both of our players now have opted for that workshop and spawning 2 warriors. Ooh, and this is a very close proximity spawn. Arthur already meeting Joyoung, trading for stars. So he has to be careful with what he spends his money on because he doesn't want to give away a tech for free. Or at least a good tech for free. So he's trying to think, all right, do I want to spend stars? He opts to research riding. He does know that this means he will give riding to Joyoung for free. Which arguably is what let Arthur win that first game, but neither here nor there. All right, so we see Joyoung is here. 6 stars. Does have riding for free now, so he's got to think, all right, how do I want to spend this money? I see my opponent standing right there. I see that there's a ruin to my south.
He could guess that there is a rider in the capital if he score counts. Move his warrior onto the warrior.
He could, but the thing is
try to win the engagement.
He could do that, but with a game as fast as this, I'm not really sure you kind of have the time to score count, unless you're really good at mental math, which this humble commentator is not.
I mean, at the very least, you could try to guess that if he has riding, he'll have a rider.
I mean, that seems... Yeah, you're right. That part is pretty self-explanatory. If he sees, oh, he gave me riding, he probably has riding. Opts to step onto that ruin. The question is, though, is he going to be able to hold on to it? The answer is probably not, because in comes Mr. Rider, which is going to likely bounce to try and find a village if I were a gambling man. But is it going to bounce north or south? Goes back to capital. All right, he's poised like a puma, ready to strike. And now we have to see. I don't think Joyoung is going to be able to take that ruin back. No, he can. He can. Never mind. This commentator is a liar. And so is he going to try and boot Arthur off of that ruin? He is. And I think he's going to... Nope. I was thinking he was going to use that rider to try and block, but instead he used it to go south and look for a ruin, spawning a second rider, getting ready in case Arthur comes in and says, no, that's my ruin, get off, go home, which is what he does opt to do. Doesn't stay on the ruin because he's a smart guy. He knows there probably is a little ambush force waiting for me out there. And now let's see how Joyoung's going to respond. Is he going to step on that ruin, or is he going to step on that village? If I were in his boots, I'd say I'd probably step on that village.
Math, build a road, kill the warrior, bounce it onto the ruin, and then move there. But it's a very all-in play.
That is very all-in, and for something so RNG dependent as ruins, well, it is after turn 5. It could be a game. Yeah, it is after turn 5. He could just straight up get a giant and just GG.
Not
two
gonna lie, I
tiles away
think
from
on that I would do it just for the fun of it.
Okay, but you say that as somebody who can afford to lose both of your other games and still win the league.
No, I mean, even if I was just like on the line, I'd be like, okay, I'll put it up to a rune, because there's been like season games where they'll be like, Village is better. I'm like, yeah, I like Ruin.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Different strokes, different folks, and all that. But either way, the fact of the matter does remain, he opted to go for the Village down south, and he did pick up roads, so Scree, we might be seeing maybe perhaps a slight deviation, but something kind of maybe similar to the plan that you were poising out there. But he's thinking to himself, what do I want to do with this rider? He opts to move it behind that mountain, ready to strike. Both of these players have that ruin in their sights, and I don't want to be a gambling man. I don't want to put my money down, but if that ruin ends up being a giant, that will probably outright decide the game. All right, Arthur opting to spread out those riders a bit, going away from that ruin. Unless he moves this rider closer. Nope, now his riders are out of range of that ruin. So if Arthur wanted to, or I'm sorry, if Joyoung wanted to, he could go ahead and hop on that ruin now and be pretty safe to be able to take it. Right now, Joyoung does have the city advantage. It's 3 cities.
Are we about to see a siege?
We possibly could be. He does have roads.
If he can kill the war, he can jump on.
I don't think he can kill the warrior. Unless he moves in the exact right way to get vision. Because could he, if he moves that 5 health rider onto the, no, he doesn't have the range. He doesn't have the stars to be able to put a road down. We're not going to see a siege, but I think we're going to see him now set up for a siege, especially since he has 3 villages to Arthur's 2. Looking at this, Arthur got
he could have had like 4 units in range of attacking the capital next turn.
Yeah, he could have.
Set up in a very good position.
I think he knows he has some he has some wiggle room here because he knows that it's 3 cities to Arthur's 2. And we are seeing Arthur responding. He is attacking that rider on the gates of his capital. He's taking time to think. He wants to make sure he has optimal movement here because he knows that Joyoung could very easily be enraged to light that capital on fire. Taking time to think, wants to make sure he gets the optimal play, does the right thing here. And it is risky, in a sense, to take this amount of time to think, because let's not forget, folks, our players are on a time crunch here. He opts to kill the rider. And now where is he going to bounce his remaining riders? He has 5 stars to spend. And what's he going to spend them on? Looking at the farm, does he want to go for the economy? He does. He does want to go for the economy. Opts for the workshop. Very solid play. The disbursement of that fog would make it very much a 50-50 if he could get vision on the part of the map he wants to get vision on. So he's trying to go for kind of the safe play. He is leaving that capital unoccupied. Joyoung does have roads, but he doesn't have vision on those riders.
If Joyoung moves, I'm not looking at Arthur's vision, but if there's a warrior just south of his capital, Joyoung may be able to road into it and bounce. If
there's not.
Okay.
Arthur's been very smart with his movement placement, not making it very easy for Joyoung to get a cheeky siege off like that. Mm-hmm. I think that the last turn when he got that rider within the gates of the capital kind of spooked him to his senses, and was like, all right, let's be a bit careful with where we're sending these guys.
Yeah, I think we'll see Joyoung start to upgrade his cities so we can have more,
for sure,
just a larger economy and more units to produce.
For sure.
He still has
looking at the map,
he can hit with a higher rider fist.
Exactly. Especially since looking at the map, the map generation definitely did favor Joyoung. Just with this placement of cities, that central ruin there did kind of keep Arthur from getting a 3rd city, at least pretty early on in the game. So for sure, Joyoung is going to have the room to improve his economy. He has 6 stars. So we're going to see if he opts for the farm or for 2 riders. And we see him go for the farm there, opting for most likely a workshop. Yes, a workshop in the northern city, upping his economy, like Scree just said. And now we pass on to Arthur, and we're going to see how he responds to the imminent threat of city burning by Joyoung's riders and roads. All right, here we go. Arthur, expanding out towards the southern corner, finds himself quite a few more ruins, as well as another village. Could those ruins possibly contain the key to what it will take to give Arthur the upper hand that he needs to go 2-0 against Joyoung tonight? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and find out on that regard. He does have 8 stars left to spend this turn. And he's thinking to himself, all right, what do I have to do to spend these stars the way that I want to in order to get the best bang for my buck? And it's interesting now that we sort of see both players have kind of abandoned the central ruin. It's just become a bit too dangerous for either of them to step on at the moment. Particularly dangerous for Arthur since he really doesn't have any vision on Joyoung right now. Joyoung stepping in.
I think Joe could probably have that ruin, but he doesn't have the vision to know that it's available for him.
Exactly. He doesn't know that it's safe. Both players don't have enough information to know if it's safe.
He would.
Yes, he could do that. In his southern city would be an excellent place to get an explorer.
It looked like he's thinking about roads into a capital upgrade and then a farm.
Yes, you're exactly right. That's precisely what we're seeing him doing here, because he's going to get basically an exact return on investment for that farm with the 5 stars from resources. And okay, never mind, we're not seeing the units. He used the resources to spawn a warrior and a rider. Admittedly, not a bad choice at all. And once again, he doesn't know that ruin is safe, so he's not stepping anybody on it quite yet. However, we do see that Arthur is stepping onto those ruins there, or at least the one in the southern corner, because he knows that one is safe, at the very least. And like I said, those ruins could very likely contain the key to success. And what's more, we have just seen a windmill spawn a giant here for Arthur. That is a very, very big deal. It bumped him into first place. It gave him, I believe, a bigger economy. Yes, a larger economy than Joyoung. And he uses the Park of Fortune on his capital, opting for the population growth. He's now only 2 population away from a giant on his capital as well. That is very bad news bearers for our dear friend Joyoung, who now sees himself bumped down to second place.
I believe because Joyoung did not go for that central ruin earlier, that Arthur just had the space he needed to use his higher resources.
For sure. It definitely gave Arthur some breathing room there, that especially to be at a point where you could research construction in a game like this. He is stepped on both of those ruins as well. And we see Joyoung is thinking, opts for an explorer in the north. And he is finding, well, he does know now that the north is very much open, and that there is really kind of nothing between him and Arthur's capital. He does not have vision on that giant just yet, but he can probably guess that that giant is back there, given the fact that he was bumped from first place to second. And we see him moving in those riders, putting them into position to get ready to attack. And where's he going to put this?
Safe now.
Oh, he absolutely should know that that ruin is safe. And I think he's going to... Yep, there we go. He did step it onto that ruin. He does have enough information to know, oh, okay, he can't kick me off of that ruin, so I am going to opt for that central ruin. Quite frankly, he's going to want either stars or giant from that ruin right now. Because like I said, folks, he doesn't know it, but he does have an archer, not an archer, a giant to contend with. We see Arthur very dynamically zooming on that ruin, very upset that he lost it.
Arthur's going to think about knights.
Oh, most definitely. He definitely has the economy for it, 13 stars. Boom! He has researched chivalry, so we are going to see him opt for... Oh, wow. Well, I will say this. I've complained a lot about the new balance patch, but right there we just saw Arthur research chivalry to be 2 stars shy of being able to spawn a knight, then chop 2 forests with the chop ability from Free Spirit to then spawn a knight. Wow, that is being able to chop without forestry. Very, very creative way to adapt from what many players consider to be a limitation imposed by the New Balance patch.
The best part is Joe know it happened.
Oh, for sure, because he had vision on one of those trees that got chopped. So he knows there's a rider incoming. He needs to space, rather not a rider, a knight incoming. He needs to space these riders out in such a way that he can't give Arthur a good chain. Gets the city connection
Joe
on
can still get a very easy giant. He just gets it next turn, and then he can start slapping on more stuff. He'll have a higher economy. He just won't have the tech unit.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think both players being cautious about that little ruin there in the center definitely gave Arthur breathing room this game to get to the point where he could get construction and chivalry by turn 10. The players have pretty evenly matched economies. 13 stars per turn for Arthur, 15 for Joyoung. And we see Joyoung opting for riders. They're at the end of his turn.
Arthur's going to get a 3-chain and then get a veteran right next to it, but it won't matter because Arthur gets the veteran or giant.
Oh, and I just lost their streams. So, Scree, if you could kindly take over as your humble commentator has technical difficulties.
So Arthur just got a knight chain on the 3 central units Joyoung had, so he now has a knight standing outside of Joyoung's capital.
Seriously, of all the times for my stream to cut
and hit the city war, he's now roading more units, and Arthur just claimed the southern village. So this means in order for Joyoung to pop a giant, he's going to need to use fruit, because now that southern city is completely off limits to him. And Arthur's just going around and taking out Joyoung's various units.
Yeah, my stream just came back when Joyoung. No, that was Arthur that jumped on that southern city. Does have
Arthur
that?
Did leave the giant on his capital to defend against any roaded sieges, which is very clever.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely has himself in a very safe position to really put some pressure here on Arthur. And we see Joyoung is taking quite a bit here to think. He sees that veteran rider right outside of his capital. And he is pretty concerned about that influx of units there. Building some roads to let him retake that city there in the south. Now, he does have a 3 health rider standing on it, but he could shimmy these guys around
to the in between the forest and then drop his 8 health rider onto the
Yes,
village.
he absolutely can shimmy his way in with that 3 health blocking other riders from roading in to take it back, which is exactly what we see him do. But
Only
now
issue is now, in theory, a knight could hit him, and he doesn't know if there is one in the fog.
He doesn't know if there is one in the fog, but more importantly, there's one just standing smack dab right there next to his capital. He did hit it with his warrior, or rather with his rider, to weaken it.
I think with his vision, he should have moved his 3 health rider closer to Arthur. Even though there's a risk of him just roading the Zabasi rider, there won't be a potential knight chain.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Not
and
that it matters with the bottom the rider.
Yeah, not that it matters with that one rider just sliding in from the southern corner. And here we can see Arthur is going ahead and
if he has enough roads, he can just siege the capital. But I don't think Arthur's going to go for that.
No, I don't think he is. He's clicked on his knight. He's thinking, all right, this guy's about to be promoted to a veteran. What do I want to do with him? What's the smartest thing I can do?
He could just siege the level 2 city above the capital instead of the capital itself.
He could, but I believe he doesn't have vision on that. Opts to upgrade the knight to a veteran and hit the warrior there in the south.
Interesting.
Make it weak, make it harder.
Then heal.
Yes, then he could have hit then heal, true. But I think he healed in order to deal more damage to the warrior. And we do see him road that giant closer to Arthur's capital.
Because the knight was at full HP, it deals the same damage.
Oh, no, he hit it with the rider. It wasn't at full HP. It was at 9 HP.
Okay.
Yeah. If it was at full HP, then for sure he should have healed after. But because it was at 9, it wouldn't have dealt as much damage. In which case, it was perhaps viable for it to go ahead, heal, then swing it. It is in danger now, though. It is being swung at by various warriors.
Joyoung's hope is to try to somehow get an all-in on Arthur's capital. I think he's going to move riders in that direction.
I have wisdom coming in from Cora in my DMs. He said that he hit full HP, so the warrior can't kill the rider on the neutral city. That I hadn't considered that. Thank you, Cora. That I'm sure that absolutely is the rationale for why he did that. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Either way, we do know that Joyoung is thinking, okay, or rather Arthur is thinking, Joyoung is thinking, yeah, there's going to be knights out there in the fog. He sees those giants slowly approaching to get ready to siege that capital. And he has to think of where he wants to position his units to guarantee that Joyoung can't get huge, or rather that Arthur can't get huge chains off with his knights. Does have 10 more stars to spend this turn. We have to see what he spends them on to get the biggest bang for his buck. Taking quite a bit of time to think, and I don't blame him. He has a lot to think about right now. A lot to think about. Really taking a lot of time. He did put down a road, has a lot of movement on that rider, opts to bring it to the border of Arthur's capital. Does have 8 more stars to spend, opts to build a rider and pass turn. All right, back to Arthur. He does have a knight in the back waiting. And here it comes. Puts down a road, sieges the city in the south with a rider. Unfortunately, not a veteran, but a knight sieging nonetheless. Going to be very difficult for Arthur to break that, or for Joyoung to break that. Moving up a rider, promoting it to veteran, blocking Joyoung from sending more units down.
He can
to
road
try
the giant to block too.
Yeah, he could road the giant to block as well, and I believe he does have 11 stars left. We might see him do that and just make it that much harder for Joyoung to unsiege. Opting to increase the economy, making a knight, making a rider, doesn't use the giant to block, instead moves it up to block Joyoung from getting at his capital. Perhaps maybe a bit of PTSD from that first game. Yeah, that is going to be a very difficult turn for Joyoung to answer. Knight sieging his southern city, giants within a handful of tiles from the capital. Oh boy, he has a lot to think about right now. And we have to see how he answers. He has 16 stars to play with. And we have to wonder what he's going to do with them to try and come back. Because effectively, right now, that southern city looks lost. Don't think he's going to be able to get that back. Looking at the tech tree, trying to find some answers here. We do see the chop icon next to Free Spirit, but that would not. I don't think that's what we're going to see. Yeah, that won't really help him, especially since chopping now only gives 1 star instead of 2.
We may just see him decide to resign, or he'll just play it out for the viewers.
He might play it out for the viewers. He might opt to get Org to pop a giant, although I think he might be a little bit, kind of too little too late in that regard. Instead, nope, there it is. He's resigning. Going up to menu. There's the resignation. Bada bing, bada boom. Wait, did he resign or did he back out? No, he resigned. Yep, there it is. That's official. The resignation. It is over. GG. All right, let's undeafen our players. That was a very well-played game, the both of you.
Good game, man.
Good game.
You kicked my ass again.
So that's what, 0-2 for you, Joyoung, tonight?
Yeah.
That one I can put a lot of
Yikes.
luck on that one, unfortunately. I don't know. You were probably wondering how I was able to get construction and Shiv so fast. It's because I got Star and Free Spirit Ruin on the same time, so I don't think there's much you could have done against that.
Yeah, especially since you were able to get those knights out a turn earlier because you were able to chop
You know what?
for those knights.
The post-nerf chopping actually helped me in that case. And that knight that turn put just so much pressure on, and then also that unfortunate T1 move right into my vision.
Yeah.
That was actually that's what lost me the game. Was I was like, okay, there's definitely a rider on his cap. I'm definitely gonna ride my rider onto his cap and hit it and bounce. And it was fucking empty, and I was so pissed.
Yeah.
That's what lost the game.
For sure.
But yeah, well played.
Well played to you too. All right.
Well played to both players. Very interesting game. To all the reviewers, thank you for tuning in. Unless we have any final comments from our players or any questions in chat, don't think we see any.
No more comments here.
No parting words for our dear viewers back home?
Not much to say.
Not much to say.
Yeah.
Got my ass kicked.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But it was good viewing. That's all I'll say. Well, with that regard, thank you to our viewers for tuning in, watching the absolute destruction of Joyoung. I'm only saying that in jest. But
fair.
now we have another treat in store for you guys. I believe it is now Scree and Ian. It's their turn up on the chopping block. Am I not mistaken?
I would like to say it was very impolite of Arthur to win both games.